Greetings to anyone and everyone who happens to be watching this video. It is a tour of my most recently completed video game project. It's been a few months now, but I don't do a lot of video game projects. It is my super duper supergun, or Neo Geo MVS in a can, or the whatever the heck it is. We'll get to the thing. First, the controller. This arc, well, first of all, you may have noticed it's built into a Harbor Freight toolbox. And that makes it so easy to service, it's crazy. Also makes it a little noisy and brutalist, but what are you, a wimp? This arc of buttons happens to fit my hand perfectly. I copied it right off the AES stick, although it's not a 3D arc, it's a flat plane. I haven't labeled the buttons because, you know, what are you, playing Neo Geo or not? The actual machine, let's turn it on. Well, the display is a very high quality, but by today's standards, microscopic. What is that, 19 inches, 21 inches or something? Component capable CRT. Color stream is Toshiba's outdated term for component video. The MVS itself is built into a 19-inch laboratory rack cart. I got it for free because it fell off a thing and got dented up and busted a caster and was basically junk, so they took the analyzers out of it and put them into another case. You know, this is all scrapped in, or Harbor Freight, basically. Because sometimes stuff other people are throwing away is better than anything you can find on eBay. This case, and you know, that this is not an Amazon's Choice server rack. This is a very nice cart, and now that I've spent kind of too much on casters, rolls around very nicely again, even on carpet. It's got I guess these are cast aluminum, and then there's machined underneath to be adaptable into this riser plate. You can drop a CRT on here. That this cart's easily 1,000 pounds. So any CRT ever made, basically, you could put on it. I wouldn't put an XBR 960 on it or something that would tip over. But you don't want that stuff anyway. You want SD CRTs for arcade games. Let's fire it up. So all the switches are stolen from various places. Well, these are brand new. The DB15 wall plates is what those are. You know, not get the thing in the port correctly over and over again and not cause any problems. This button is actually like a security panic button that came with my house, so it's like mid-century modern, and that's why it looks so nice. Can't really buy them like that, I don't think. Maybe there's a bunch of them around still. This is an emergency stop from an industrial control system. They got thrown in the junk. That cancels it. The stop turns the light on, powers up the JAMA power supply. As you saw, there's a UniBIOS in there because you gotta have a UniBIOS. If you got any Neo Geo stuff and you don't have a UniBIOS, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what's wrong with you. You gotta have a UniBIOS. Totally transforms playing Neo Geo. It really does. This power light is not just power light. It is also the test button. So I'm the operator and the consumer and the owner and everything in between. So I need all the buttons out front. There's no reason locking anything up. It's all me. But I want all the nice steel cage, so my 6-year-old kid and my drunk friends and relatives or whatever, they can vomit all over this thing, and then they can't even see or touch actual SNK stuff. Kind of like arcade machines, only even stronger because it's not made out of rotting MDF or crack-prone fiberglass. So yeah, that's player one. As you can see, I'll get back out of there. I do have a 6-button solution. I haven't implemented it yet because my only CPS2 board is having problems. But I have a stick very much like this. It just has a 6-button layout. Someday all your CRTs are going to die. What are you going to do? Well, you need some sort of scaler. Retro tank. This thing looks amazing. It seems to have lag on it, in my opinion. But there's a SCART socket inside of this thing. Hook this to this, power it with this, and the USB power supply in there. I stole the HDMI cable for something else, but then it's just HDMI to the 4K Bravia extension cable for Neo Geo. Since it's DB15s, you can use You can just plug actual AES or Neo Geo CDs or Kidney Bean controllers or any kind of controller you want in there. Mass systems, all sorts of stuff. This button, the one I mentioned I got from my house, is actually the service button. But it does not do player 1 service or player 2 service without reaching inside and hitting a tiny little micro switch. It only has the general service. So if you want to use the developer dip in Metal Slug 3, for example, you'll have to reach inside to turn that on. But how often do you really do that? Not that often. So how do you change games? It seems to be completely locked up. Well, this is a high-end rack. Inside looks like any other rack. But I got a nice little door in there. This actually is Amazon's choice. This was not made in the European Union. It's pretty crappy. Some of these panels I bought off eBay and such, so cheap I had to paint them when I got them. In here, on a drawer, is the actual MVS. And, you can see you can take the whole thing out, drop any other board you want in there. My MVS is currently mounted to a piece of plastic, so it's not shorting out against the bottom of it. But if you're going to put a bare PCB in there, you want a piece of wood or something. And when I say you, I mean me, because this is not a sales video. I'm never selling this. This is mine forever. I absolutely love this thing. It's exactly what I want. So games chain's easy. But there's other things inside, obviously. Let's turn it off so we don't cause any problems. Spin it around like a magician's cabinet. I should get better panels for this. But I want just another door on it, because inside things like power supply and such are actually mounted to a wooden platform that does slide out, but you have to take these things off to get to it. Inside you see turn it on again, very low cost Chinese JAMA power supply. I've never had a problem with this thing, so I'm using it. It's very small. It's still it's all transformer based. It's not a linear power supply, so it's kind of like old fashioned. If there is anything weird that happens with switching power supplies in modern electronics, which some people theorized, well, you won't have that problem with this thing because it's still transformers. And then in here, this is a Arcade Forge, I think, supergun PCB. That little DB9 is for the Capcom kick harness. That's a SCART socket, of course. If you want to use an ATX power supply, you can see that fits right in there. And what else? That goes into a NeoBits component video encoder. Very nice machine. I don't think they make that anymore. And then that goes to a radio box that I made for the stereo audio and the component video. That's a Hammond zinc case that, like what Electro Harmonix uses for guitar pedals. Happened across a bunch of them for cheap blanks, but already painted orange, so I got a couple of them. I'm not sure why the audio, I think the audio is coming right out of the supergun, or no, it's coming right out of the Neo Geo, since it has a line level stereo output and going up to the TV. But this would work with JAMA audio. And let's see, is that it? That's about it, I think. And then, yeah, that goes into the back of the TV. There's a power supply in there, so inside there's plenty of things to plug things in, but you can seal it all up and nobody can mess with it. And it makes like this, sort of hardcore hobby thing, owning a Neo Geo arcade system, extremely practical. And it's in my downstairs workshop basement kids play area thing, so I can wheel it around to anywhere I want. It's a little hard to get up the stairs, let me tell you. It's never been done the way it is. But overall, I'm extremely happy with this thing. And then when you're building your supergun, I urge you to think outside of the box and consider keeping your boards and stuff alive, rather than like tidiness or smallness, or whether this or not is USB. Worry about whether or not that board's going to exist for the next guy to work with. That's about it.